JR, one of the questions I get asked a lot is how much money do I need to bring to closing, closing costs. There's a lot of people out there that are renting right now and they're not jumping because they don't think that they have enough in the savings to do this.
Right.
Can we walk them through this? Let's figure this out for them because it's really not that hard. We touched on the IDA grants. Yep. That can help a little bit, but go into what.
So you mentioned it right there. What are the closing costs? What are the cash to close? When people ask what the closing costs are, 9 times out of 10, they want to know how much money they're going to have to bring to closing.
Right.
Not necessarily what are the costs. So by asking that question to the wrong lender will give you a distorted sense of how much cash you're going to bring to close. So one of the things that I say when they say that is, are you talking about how much money you're bringing to closing? Or are you curious about the costs themselves and what they look like? And is there one specific cost that you're focused in on? Maybe they have a family member that works at a title company and maybe we want to use that title company.
Sure.
Whatever. But when you're typically talking about closing costs to a bank, you're talking about underwriting fee, processing fee, appraisal, any type of buy downs to get a lower interest rate. But then there are all these other one-off small costs, pass-through costs, like for title, making sure that there's no liens on the property.
Right.
Closing the loan. We closed at a title company very similar to this table that we're sitting at now, and we signed some paperwork. So then we have your escrow, your taxes and insurance. We want to make sure that we pay your full year of insurance up front.
Right.
That gets paid out of closing. That way, this time next year, as you've made your payment into your mortgage, there's taxes and insurance payment there. They'll take care of it next year. It's already going to be built in, but you have to pay that
Right.
first year up front. So there's a lot of little one-offs there. So if a client asks me what's my closing cost, cash to close going to be, it's going to take me a little bit of work to fine-tune that.
Right.
Because the goal here is to make sure they have enough money. And if they don't have enough money, then do we need to get seller concessions? Do we need a grant? Then we can kind of build this per whatever their situation is. And like I mentioned earlier, $1,000 or 1%, whatever's higher, is typically what we have to use for a grant. So how do we get that? It's because we back into those figures and we build the mortgage for the client based off of what they have.
Right. And you're very good at doing that. You're very good at keeping clients informed, and whenever they go to closing, they know exactly what's going on.
And they should, days in advance.
Yes, they do. They're not surprised about anything. It's just between you and I, we keep them very informed, and they're happy.
Yeah, but the closing costs, 9 times out of 10 means how much cash do I got to bring to closing?
Oh, sure. Yeah, because that's a big question.
But it's good to know your details as well.
Right.
So.